Hello and welcome to BFS Wargaming. So we are the last in the series of the Necron codex review. We are looking at the stratagems and we are looking at list building. So I'm just going to talk about some ideas maybe for list building. But we'll go through some of the stratagems and we'll sort of talk about list building as well as we go. So you have the 1 CP stratagem dimensional corridor. Use this stratagem in your movement phase. Select Dynasty core infantry unit from the army that is on the battlefield. Remove that unit from the battlefield in the reinforcement step of the phase and set it back up on the battlefield anywhere within 3 inches of a monolith and more than 9 inches away from enemy models. It's quite nice. You used to be able to do this and not have to stay 9 inches away, which was even nicer. It was really good, I thought, and it's a shame that they haven't still got that, but maybe they decided it was a bit too strong with although you can only do it with core units, so the only thing you're really ever going to do it with is Lich Guard anyway. But you can still do it with, this is still cool to do with like warriors, with reapers or Gauss flayers, and get a load of shots off. So there's definitely still play there. It's still quite a cool thing. Then we have, use the stratagem in your shooting phase before making the wound roll. So it's the Techno Oracular Targeting. So it's basically, you get for one of your wounds, instead of rolling it, you can just auto wound. So it's just 1 dice. It's really nice if you're just, you know someone, especially if you know it's like Space Marines where they haven't gone invuln, and you're just like, right, auto wound, and Necrons have got really high AP. So especially on like a Doomsday Arc -5, it's just going to go straight through the armor, and you only need, you only need to get that one through. You just want to guarantee it. It's really good for that. Extermination protocols. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase when a lot cost destroyer. So this is the destroyer one I've talked about in the previous one when I went through the lot cost destroyers. Reroll the wound roll for lot cost destroyers. Really good. Really nice. Then we have Storm of Flensing Blades. So this is one for the flayed ones. There's a couple of stratagems in there for the flayed ones which are really nice. So select one unit, flayed ones unit from your army within engagement range, and that unit can fight again for 2 CP. Really good. Really good. I like that. I mean, it's just, it makes flayed ones tasty because they're the only unit in the game that can fight again. So, and it's cool because they're just like manic and crazed and just awesome. Then we have Fractal Targeting. So, Tomb Blades, all rapid fire weapons from that equipped with treated as being assault 2 weapons. Models in that unit do not suffer the penalty for hit rolls incurred for firing assault weapons in the same turn that unit has advanced. So really nice. You can advance and just shoot your weapons as assault weapons and they don't get the penalty. It's cool. It's really good if you need to get that little bit extra and then you still want to shoot with them. It's really good. Okay, Judgment of the Triarch. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase. When a Triarch unit is selected to shoot or fight, then you get +1 to your hit roll. Nice for 1 CP. That's 1 CP as well. The Fractal Targeting for the Tomb Blades is 1 CP. Eternal Protectors. So use this in the fight phase. Lich Guard unit from your army until the end of the phase. Whilst within 3 inches, add 1 to the attacks. Whilst within 3 inches of a noble model, you add 1 to the attacks characteristic. Very nice. So you've just got Lich Guard with like 4 attacks each, just carving stuff up. Really good. Then we have Resurrection Protocols. So this is to bring a friendly Necron Infantry Noble or Necron Infantry Cryptek back to life. I don't really know why they just done it with a Noble and a Cryptek. Again, sometimes I know that they're like trying to make stuff not as good as it was in a way. They're trying to get rid of cheese, but I just think the only other ones that you could use it on, so you can't use it on a Royal Warden, you can't use it on a Scorpec Lord or a Locust Lord. I think they're the only 3, because obviously you wouldn't be able to use it on a Catan. I understand that, but you just put excluding Catan. But it would have been nice if you could use it on like a Scorpec Lord. I don't know. I don't think it's massively OP if you could use it on a Scorpec Lord. They're not horrendous. So yeah, bit strange, but they are trying to sort of limit stuff with all the core stuff and all that sort of thing, so that's probably why they've done it. But still really useful to bring something back to life. I mean, you could bring For instance, Imatech back to life with that, or Cesares. So it is still nice. Use this stratagem in your command phase. Strange Echoes for 1 CP. Select a Catan model. Select one of the powers from the powers of Catan that model does not know, and select it and replace it. So you just get you replace a power. So this is quite nice. Like say if you start off with Antimatter Meteor, and then you're starting to really get into an army. And there's loads of units. You swap it out for Cosmic Fire, and then suddenly you're doing loads more mortal wounds. The Deathless Arise, so use this stratagem in your command phase. It's 1 CP. Select one Technomancer model from your army. Until the end of that phase, it can use its Rites of Reanimation ability one more time. It's nice. Dimensional Destabilization for so either 2 CP or 1 CP, depending on whether you're a Titanic or just a Cetan Shard. And you get to roll for a power on the table, and you get to immediately use that power even if you've already used it this turn. It's really good for 1 CP to use an extra Catan power. I've forgot every time I've played, I forgot to use it, and it's so good, and I'm annoyed with myself. Entropic Strike. So use this stratagem in your fight phase when a Catan model from your army is selected to fight until the end of the phase. Each time a melee attack is made by that model, invulnerable saving throws cannot be made against that attack. Brilliant. Just so good. 2 CP, but well worth it. Like a really good stratagem. Okay, Hand of the Pharaon. Use this when you're a muster in your army, you can basically turn a Necron Overlord into a Pharaon, so you can do My Will Be Done twice instead of only once. It's really nice. It's 2 CP, so it's quite expensive just to gain that. But it is nice. I think 1 CP may have been enough, but Dynastic Heirlooms. Use this stratagem before the battle when you're mustering. So it's for your extra relic. I knew that. So you can get an extra relic. You can actually get 2 extra relics in a 2,000 point game, and you can get 2 extra Warlord traits, I believe, in a 2,000 point game as well. Yeah. So that's called Rarefied Nobility. So it's 1 CP for each. Enslaved Protectors. Use this stratagem in your opponent's charge phase to select one Canaptic unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, you can heroically intervene as if it was a character. Really strong, really nice stratagem. It's really, really good. And then you've got the Stellar Alignment Protocol. It's 1 CP for a model with 10 or more wounds, or 2 CP if it's Titanic, and it basically operates on its top profile for the phase, for the turn. Is it the phase or the turn? Oh, let's have a look. Yeah, the turn. I was sure it was, but let's just check. Then we have Reanimation Prioritization. So the Canaptic Reanimator, you can change it. It's alright. It's 2 CP. It's a lot for a model that you're probably not going to take anyway. Burrowing Nightmares. So this is one for the Ophidian Destroyers. Use your stratagem at the starting movement phase. Select one Ophidian Destroyer army unit in your army. Remove that unit from the battlefield. So you can go back into like Deep Strike and then come out on the next turn. Or whichever turn you want. Okay, Self-Destruction. So this is the on a 2 to 5, 1 CP, you do D3 mortal wounds. If you roll a 6, you do 3 mortal wounds. It's really nice. Strat on the Scarabs. Really good stratagem. Prismatic Dimensional Breach. This is use this stratagem in the reinforcement step of your movement phase. Select one Dynasty core unit from your army that is in strategic reserves, and select one friendly Night Scythe or Monolith model that is on the battlefield. Set that core unit up anywhere on the battlefield that's wholly within 3 inches of the Night Shadow Monolith and not within engagement range of enemy models. That's really nice. You can just bring him in and then you could probably charge or shoot with them. You cannot use it in the first battle round, however, because obviously, you know, you're not allowed to come in from strategic reserves or any reserves in the first battle round. Okay, next Flayed One stratagem. It's called Shadows of Drazak. Use this stratagem in any phase when a Flayed One unit is selected as a target of an attack, and you get -1 to hit. Really good. Keep them alive that little bit longer. It's nice. Etheric Interception. This is really good. So if you've got the Hyperspace Hunter keyword, which the death marks and the hex mark destroyer have both got. You can basically, when a unit comes down, you can come in 18 inches away and more than within 18 inches, but more than 9 inches away, and you get to shoot at them. It's really cool. I really like it. 1 CP. It's a really nice strat. Relentless Onslaught. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a core infantry unit from your army is selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack with a rapid fire weapon, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores 1 additional hit. Really good. Just getting extra hits. Yeah. Can't really complain about that. Just on a core infantry unit. It has to be a rapid fire weapon though, so you can't use it on the assault weapons. But then they're probably getting extra hits on 6s anyway, so it don't matter. Apart from the Reapers. Curse of the Pharaon. Use this stratagem in any phase. When a Necron's vehicle army from your order is destroyed, you can automatically explode it. It's 3 CP to do for a Titanic and 1 CP to do for any other Necron vehicle. It's really good. It's nice. Atavistic Instigation is 1 CP. This is for the Doom Scythe. And when a Doom Scythe model from your army is selected to shoot, after you select the target unit for that model's heavy death ray, select one enemy unit within 3 inches of that target. You can select the target itself if you wish. That enemy unit can either brace, duck, or duck for cover. If that unit braces, it is not a vehicle or monster unit. It suffers and is not a vehicle or monster. It suffers D3 mortal wounds. If that unit ducks, then until the end of the turn, subtract 1 from the attack characteristic of that model in that unit, and the unit cannot fire Overwatch or set to defend. It's quite cool. For 1 CP. It's nowhere near as good as the last stratagem for them, but it's quite cool. Revenge of the Doomstalker. So, with the Doomstalkers at the end of the phase, that Canaptech Doomstalker... Sorry, use this stratagem in any phase. When a Dynasty character from your unit army is destroyed by an enemy unit, select one friendly Canaptech Doomstalker model from your army. At the end of the phase, that Canaptech Doomstalker model can shoot as if it was a shooting phase, but it can only target that enemy unit. Until the end of the battle, each time that Canaptech Doomstalker model makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, add 1 to the attack hit rolls. That's really nice. You just like go after it's like revenge killing. It's cool. That's why it's called Revenge of the Doomstalker. Disruption Fields. Use this stratagem in the fight phase and you get +1 strength to a core unit. Really nice to play on Lich Guard. Or maybe even a big unit of Necron warriors. If you up against something that's toughness 4, you can go to strength 5. Use this stratagem, Disintegration Capacitors. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase. When a Necron's unit from your army is selected to shoot, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 automatically wounds a target. This is really nice for like when you're using, this is for Gauss weapons only, but when you're using like warriors or immortals and you're against like a tank or something that's T7 or T8, and then you just, with that volume of hits, you can actually get quite a few wounds through, and then you've got some AP on that as well, so it's quite nice. Then we have Malevolent Arcing. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a Necron's model from your army targets an enemy unit with Tesla weapon. After making that weapon's attack roll, 1d6 for each unit within 6 inches, and a 4+, it suffers mortal wounds. So it's like the electric coming off of all the Tesla. So it's cool, I like that. That's 1 CP as well. Then we have Whirling Onslaught, so it's -1 to wound against Scorpec Destroyers or Scorpec Lord. You have Quantum Deflection, which basically gives you a 4-up invuln rather than a 5-up invuln for your anything with quantum shielding, which is really nice. You have Solar Pulse for 1 CP. You just take away the cover. If someone's got a cover save, you just say nope, you're not having it. And then you have Reconstitution Protocols. Use this stratagem in your command phase. Select one Ghost Arc from your army. Until the end of that phase, each time it uses its repair ability, you can set up D6 destroyed models instead of D3. So really nice, buffing that Ghost Arc if you've built your army around that. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk about list building. So the Dynasty specific stratagems. So we have Talent for Annihilation, which is the Mefrit one, 1 CP. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a Mefrit unit from your army is selected to shoot. And basically on wound rolls of 6, you get 1 mortal wound in addition to any damage. It is to a maximum of 3 though. This is I just feel like if it was to a maximum of 5, then you'd be like, okay, this is worth taking. Maximum of 3, it's just like, it's just too capped. 5, I think would be fine. It would make it worth using. Okay. Next up, we have the Etheric one, Translocation Crypt, and basically you spend a CP when you're doing your reserves, and you can give any unit except a monster or vehicle dimensional translocation, but basically deep strike, so you can come in turn 2 anywhere on the board 9 inches away from the enemy. Really nice. Reclaim a Lost Empire, which is Niliac, which is 1 CP. Use this strategy when you're shooting phase. Select 1 Niliac unit from your army that is currently performing action, and they can still shoot, and the action is not failed. Really nice stratagem, especially, it allows you to think, I can take an action-based secondary, and I can just play 1 CP each turn I have to do it, and I'll still be able to shoot. So I think that's a really, really nice one. Blood Rites. So this is the Novok one, 1 CP again. Use this strategy in your fight phase. When a Novok unit from your army is selected to fight until the end of the phase, add 1 to the attack's characteristic. Really nice. You could, if you, for instance, play this on Lich Guard, you could play the Lich Guard specific one, which is within 3 inches Nova, you get +1 attack, so you've got +2 attack. Then you can do Disruption Fields for +1 strength. So you've got +1 strength, +2 attacks on a unit 10 Lich Guard. They are going to be horrendous. Really, really, like, they're just going to dish out a lot of damage. So that's really, really nice. And you could use it on flayed ones, wraiths, because it's just a Novok unit, so there's no core limitations, so you can really sort of start making some of those close combat, Scorpec destroyers. You can start really making them absolute murder machines. Okay, next up is the Celtic one, Methodical Destruction for 2 CP. This is really, really nice. So use this strategy when you're shooting phase. After a Celtic unit from your army has finished making its attack, select 1 enemy unit that was targeted by an attack made by a model in that unit this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time attack is made, add 1 to hit rolls for all Celtic units at that targeted enemy. So this is really nice, especially if you've got like a big target, something like a Knight, Magnus, Morty. You can then use one of your like lesser infantry, like Immortals or Warriors, who you don't think are going to do that much to it. You just use one of the models to fire at it. Use your other ones, the rest of the 19 or 9 or how many of you and that unit can shoot at something that they're probably more likely to kill. But just because you put 1 into it, you don't even have to hit, and then you get in +1 to hit for all of your Doomsday Arcs or Canaptic Doomstalkers or whatever it is that that's shooting at them. So that's really, really nice. I really like that. It's not so, you don't necessarily need it for your infantry, because you can sort of My Will Be Done them and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just really good if you've got something like a big unit of something it's going to take a lot of shooting, or a big model, a monster or a vehicle. You can then really sort of like start putting the hurt on it. Okay, the last one is the Caesarican one, Empiric Damping, which is 1 CP. So the only one that was 2 CP is the Methodical Destruction one. So this uses stratagem when an enemy psyker attempts to manifest a psychic power within 18 inches of a Caesarican unit, and on a 4+, it's denied. We've seen this before, it's in quite a few codexes. It's a really powerful stratagem. Really, really nice to have. And, it can literally change the game. If you deny something big, like warp time on Mortarion, like, that could stop him getting in. And then you get to shoot and try and kill him first. Like, that's just huge. So yeah, really, really big stratagem. So there's some really nice, stratagems for specific dynasties, and you can really sort of like look at building lists around some of these stratagems and relics and warlord traits, and keep going over the codex, because I'll have missed stuff for sure. There'll be stuff that the combinations of stuff that I haven't seen, and the more people play a bit, the more people try things out, the more stuff that will get shared between all of the people on YouTube and Reddit and all these different forums, and we'll work out what the best stuff is. Okay, so when we're talking about list building and how to build lists and stuff, I mean, people build lists in so many different various ways, but I think there's some really cool things you can do with the Necron codex now, and there is like multiple competitive builds. So for instance, one of my favorite, just when I was looking through the codex and I looked at like, I think I could look at doing like a Canaptech, pretty much a Canaptech only list, apart from obviously the HQs, and just take some like Cryptex and stuff to buff them. And actually Isaac, who's been on the channel before, plays Necron, so I had a good chat with him about it, and he actually tried it out. I think he tried it out on Tabletop Simulator, and yeah, he done really well with it. He had, I think he said he had 18 wraiths, 6 spiders, and 20, something like 25 scarabs, and then I don't know, like 4 Cryptex or something. So a cool list. He said it was very good at holding objectives. He gave it objectives secured, 6-inch move beforehand, so you can get them wraiths because they move, I think they move 12 anyway, so you've got 18-inch move and then charge, so even in a 24-inch sort of distance, and you can push them up, and then you can get the scarabs holding objectives. Chronomancers can give them 5-up invons. You've got the spiders that can bring the scarabs back to life. You've got the heroic intervention stratagem, so you can then heroically intervene. Yeah, so there's just a lot of cool things you can do, and I really like. There's some nice other things that you can do with the Canaptech stuff in terms of giving the node to the Technomancer so they can hit on 3+ instead of 4+, and things like that. So yeah, there's some cool things, and also one of the secondaries you can take. Canaptech can do the action for it, so that's also really cool. So they've built it so you can go down that Canaptech route, which I really like. So that's one way you could go. Also, you've got like the Celtic route. So obviously the Celtic Dynasty is not, the Dynasty traits aren't great. However, they have the best Warlord trait in my eyes and the best Relic, and they also have Imitate the Stormlord, who is already a Pharaon. He can My Will be done twice. He gives you 2 additional command points, and he's got the Lord of the Storm, where he can deal out mortal wounds. He's well worth his points. And so from those things, I think there is something you could build around Celtic, but I'm just not sure it would be the strongest. But I still do think it would be good. I'm definitely going to try some things out with it myself and see what I can do there. Then you've obviously got like you can go down like the Metal Tide route, so loads and loads of warriors with like Reapers or Gauss Flayers. I'm going to do 100 warrior lists and do it on the channel and see how it fares. And you can put stuff like Caesares with them, maybe make it Celtic, put Imatech with them, try and get some buffing characters, maybe try and make a couple of these Necron units T5 with Caesares. You've then got some stratagems you can play to like wound on hits of 6s, so if you've got any anti-tank you can maybe take some of that out. So there's definitely some play there. Or maybe you go with 60 warriors or 80 warriors or something like that. I mean, because for 100 warriors you're looking at 1,300 points, so it is a big chunk of change. And then you've got, you've still got Doomsday Arcs are still very viable. You've got Catans. You could go run with a Catan list, and Catan heavy, which would be cool. I mean, I'm not sure how competitive that would be, but it would be cool. I mean, I ran a list. It's on the channel now with a Tesseract Vault, 2 monoliths, the Void Dragon, and then like just a little patrol to support it. That was loads of fun to play. Again, I'm not sure. I don't think it would be too competitive. But like the monoliths, you could build a list around the monoliths, or maybe a monolith, because they are very good. But they will die if there's a lot of anti-tank about. Then you also have the Silent King. So the Silent King, you can literally build lists around the Silent King. If you're putting the Silent King in, you're building a list around him, because he can do loads of stuff to buff. He's an absolute monster, and he can dish out the damage, so there's definitely play there building lists around the Silent King, and I think there's very competitive lists to build around the Silent King. And he can be hidden behind walls, like obscuring walls, because he's technically only 16 wounds. But yeah, so there's a lot of play with list building. I think there's lots of options. You can go real close combat heavy, so you could take loads of Lich Guard, you could take loads of Wraiths, you could take Flayed Ones, Ophidian Destroyers, Scorpec Destroyers. Like, we've got so many good close combat options now. You could literally run a close combat army. You could either take Novok, or you could take the +1 to charge plus the pre-6-inch move, so you can get everything up the board, get right in someone's face. And if you had enough stuff, then maybe it would survive long enough and you could just kill everything. But yeah, so I think there's loads of really fun lists to do, which are still, you can still have a good game with, and you will still be able to go and say to your mate, right, let's go and play a game, I'm bringing this cool list, and you'll have a good game. And there's also some very competitive lists, I think, that are there as well. And I think the more, once tournaments are really get going more, you'll start seeing more and more. Once you end up seeing these things get cut down into what the sort of, there'll be 3 or 4 competitive lists come out, and then you'll see the odd new one come out every now and again as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing that myself. But I hope you found this interesting, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the videos on the Necron codex that I did. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Stay lucky. Bye.